that if we're willing to live with the existential anxiety, to feel that upset, to face that possibility, to facing that possibility of our own becoming, and if we engage with that anxiety and step into the unknown, do that which we have never done before, with the possibility of becoming who we've never been before, because it's an unpracticed self. It's creating ourselves in the moment. That when we do that, then we have the possibility of experience what they call existential freedom and existential joy. The true freedom and joy does not come from numbing ourselves and practicing who we've been and being safe. That true freedom and joy, existential freedom and existential joy, comes from stepping into the unknown and becoming who we wouldn't have become otherwise. So given that choice, how many of you want mind-numbing ontological guilt that keeps you from fulfilling your potential, stunts your spiritual development, and keeps you practicing who you've already been that you aren't even that fond of? Or we could step into the possibility of becoming something what we don't even know we haven't met yet, that fulfills our potential, that fulfills our nature, and experience existential joy and freedom. Who wants B? Excellent, great, perfect. So these are really what we're talking about. This is a secret to happiness. This is a secret to personal growth. Which is synonymous in this way with spiritual development. It's facing that and being willing to be in existential anxiety and doing that which we've never done before to become who we never would have been before. And practice and become used to stepping into that and guiding our life project, as Sartre calls it, or our life quest, through these increasing choices to fulfill our nature, as Joan talked about, to fulfill our potential, to become that who we could become that we cannot even see yet, but to be willing to make those choices. It's having the faith to step into the unknown, not knowing where it's going to take you. That leap of faith. And this is the essence of what faith can mean for us. It doesn't have to mean just something abstract, but having the faith to step into something new, to do something different, to become who we couldn't have become otherwise. Whatever your religious orientation, no matter what your faith basis is, it's just having that faith to step into these possibilities. So I want you to hold this bigness, that you have a bigger possibility for yourself, that there is a you haven't even met yet that's even greater and more and different and expanded and more mature and more fulfilled and greater and bigger and deeper and richer than you already magnificently are right now. That there's an even greater, more magnificent you awaiting you. How does that feel to you? Are you willing to meet that next most radiant self? How many of you can admit that possibility of it? And then there's another, and then there's another, and there's another next most radiant self, and another next most radiant self, and that's how you create your life. That's how your potential gets realized. And as that's realized, then there's another possibility, then another possibility. And all the saints, and all the people who've lived great lives, and all the people that have rich, beautiful lives of purpose and substance, they continually participate in their own evolution in these ways. They don't stop. And we're going to look at that a little bit more tomorrow. They don't stop. They're always being willing. That doesn't mean every moment they make the choice, but increasingly they increase the percentages of stepping into the unknown. So, how do you feel right now? Existential anxiety, who's got a little that feeling? Who feels like kind of a little bit of a pull, kind of want to go to that next most radiant self in that way? All right. So, how are we doing, you existentialists? How are we doing? Yeah, are good? So we've gone from the Greeks throughout time, through whatever, to really look at this. What is a life of purpose? What's a spiritual life? What is it? How do we do that? How do we create that? And the existentialists and Judith Wright say that you have to what? Make a commitment. And and then use that commitment to guide the everyday choices. And what are the choices in every moment? Do what you've already done and just be safe and familiar and comfortable. And then that also creates a sense in us called ontological guilt or existential anxiety, but if we do that, what can it lead to? Existential freedom and joy. Now remember, it was Kierkegaard, the existentialist, who named this existential anxiety, but he also was an existentialist minister who told us that faith was the most difficult path. that faith of stepping into the unknown, that possibility of doing that which we hadn't done before, the unrehearsed, the unpracticed. But that he also said that a life of adventure is what created that sense of possibilities for us. And if we didn't step into that life of adventure, we create for ourselves a life of suffering, of ontological guilt, that's the choice we have. In his opinion, Kierkegaard's background, it's the Christian faith that's the challenge, because that's his tradition. That's what his thinking came from. So, but this piece of our faith we can all interpret individually for ourselves. For us, we suggest any life of faith. He meant the Christian life, but we expand that as we're talking about it. A life of faith, whatever your religious traditions are, whatever your belief systems are, that this is a universal piece of humanity that's transcendent, transcends our belief systems and allows this possibility of human potential to be fulfilled. What we would call transcendental faith that then can be interpreted through whatever your individual faith is.